This is the video that's going to help you train consistently forever. Now in this video, I'm actually just going to talk about what consistency looks like in real life, and not what you see on Instagram. I'm going to help you figure out a schedule that works for you. I'm going to give you some things to remember when life happens, when shit hits the fan and throws you off track. And I honestly think this might be one of the best videos you listen to, because I'm not here to train women for 8 weeks, 12 weeks, even months. I want you training forever. That should be the goal. There should be no end date. And that sounds really intense. But what I'm about to say is the complete opposite. I've literally been training in some form or another since I was a kid. I'm also a coach, right? And I'm an online coach now, which means my schedule is very flexible. And most of you lot, the people I am talking to, the women I coach, have a life. That means typically a demanding job, family, friends, pets. And that life can make being consistent a lot harder than it is for someone like me. I'm just going to put that out there. I am very aware of the challenges that you lot face. The women I coach, are more inspiring than anyone you're going to see on the gram, because they don't have time to post on the internet. They don't have time to post on Instagram about their training schedule and how great they're doing. So I think that's really important. I'm just going to say that off the bat. I am going to give you the tools that I give to my clients who actually have responsibilities outside of training. The first thing that is so important for you to understand when it comes to consistency is that it doesn't mean being perfect. You've got to get that out of your head, because the all or nothing mindset that you have is the reason you're not consistent. You're trying to ask yourself too much. So, an easy example of this is, if you want to be consistent with strength training, whether you're trying to balance it with just life or you're trying to balance it with a sport or a hobby that you do. For example, I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now. I've been doing it for the last year. And I will say, because I actually love it so much compared to other things I've done, I've done high rocks, I've trained for an ultramarathon, I've done triathlons, all of that stuff. I found that very easy to balance strength training with, because I loved strength training more. So for me, that was way easier. Now I really love jiu-jitsu. So sometimes I overcook it. Sometimes I miss strength training sessions because I've done too much. I've had to skip strength today because I went too hard. I've trained Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, and I went too hard. I've done too much, and it's because I barely trained in October and I just got a bit excited. So today I'm a bit fucked, if I'm honest. And that's a good example of what a lot of my clients come to me for. And I'm telling you this because I'm not perfect. Far from it. But that is a good example of what a bad approach is. Let's say you are someone who's quite competitive, especially. It can be quite hard to back off in order to keep going. So if you do too much at once and you're pushing yourself really hard every session, and let's say you try and do a fuck ton of sessions every week, 5-6 sessions, the reality is you can't keep it up. So the first thing you need to do is look at your schedule and what is realistic for you. I get this so often when people first come to me and they say, well, I think I can train 4 times a week. I think I could probably do that. And I ask them, well, can you actually do it? Or it sounds like that's a bit too much for you. And so we come to an agreement that, hey, why don't we do 3 sessions a week? Because that is realistic for you and you're confident you can do that. So the first thing is setting a realistic schedule that you can be consistent with. That is the most important thing. Doing more doesn't mean better if you're missing sessions and you're burning yourself out and there's no time for anything else, right? That brings me to the next thing. You can't just add more training sessions. If you're going to add more training in, you need to also have time for eating and more recovery and going to bed early. And I'll just give an example. When I train as much as I have been, which is 6, sometimes even 7 times a week, I try not to do that. I try and double up if I want to train more. But that also means I need to eat a lot. If I'm on it, which again, I'm not perfect, so I'm not always, I will have about 5 meals a day. So that's 3 main meals and 2 like mini meals. That's what I need to fuel my body, not just to train, but to recover from it. Because the reality is you're eating food because you enjoy food, but you're eating for the session, and you're also eating to recover from the session, and so on and so on and so on. If you haven't even thought of that, and if you're struggling to even prep meals or be consistently fueling like that, then you've got to rein in the sessions so that you're actually feeling good, because that's the biggest, most important thing. If you want to be consistent, you can't be fucked all the time, because I'm telling you now, when your alarm goes off first thing in the morning and you've got no energy because you've barely eaten and you're trying to push through, you're not going to want to go. You're going to either, if you're very competitive, you're going to take yourself to the gym and your sessions are going to be crap. You're going to be dragging yourself through. You get towards the end, you've got nothing in you, you can't push hard. Or you don't go and you're in that all or nothing cycle again. So again, when you're thinking about your schedule, look at everything. Don't just look at the training, and be realistic about that, because I promise you, if you learn how to train hard during, let's say, 3 sessions instead of 4 or 5, if you learn how to train hard, fuel your body properly, get a bit more consistent with bedtime, stop watching Netflix, then you will make more progress by doing that, by being consistent with that schedule and eating, than you will trying to do more, burn out, not eat enough. You can see the pattern. Anyway, I'm rambling. The reason, I hope it's clear on, I feel like I'm going off topic when it comes to the consistency title, but these things matter for being consistent. I will just repeat that this is why it's not easy for you lot. It's way easier for the fitness influencers to train as hard as they're training and to do like hybrid training and to lift. Most of my clients are lifting 2 or 3 times a week and also doing other stuff. Let's use running. I've got a lot of runners in the Strongest Fuck Club. If you're lifting 2 or 3 times a week and you're also running 2 or 3 times a week, depending on, what time of year it is, whether you've got a race, all that jazz, you're training 6 times a week, 5-6 times a week, let's say, on top of having a life. And it's not easy. So fair play to you, first of all. You need to recognise how not normal that is. Because you might be in a bubble, you might follow fitness influencers. We've got an amazing community full of women who are all doing epic stuff, but outside of that bubble, I guarantee, look around the office, most of your friends won't be doing what you're doing. Most of your friends aren't training at all, let alone training 5-6 times a week consistently, and also going out for brunches and trying to spend time with family. Again, you've got to bear all that stuff in mind and give yourself a break if you miss a session or 2. And I guess that's my final thing. If I haven't already said it, which I probably have because I ramble and I don't do scripts, if you want to be consistent, you have to know that being consistent does not mean perfect. If you miss a session, who gives a fuck? if you're training for life, and this is why it's so good to look at training for longevity and training for life rather than, sucking yourself into like a 12-week thing, because if you're training for life, one session means fuck all. If one whole week went to shit and you barely trained, when you're training for years, for decades, for the rest of your life, 1 week doesn't mean anything. I think I've already said it, but last month I barely trained. I had 2 holidays or 2 trips away. I was ill, I got injured, and honestly I was in the gym itself twice and maybe a couple of jiu-jitsu sessions in there as well. I don't care, because I know I'm going to train for the rest of my life, and I know I've been lifting for about 10 years now, but I've been training in some form since I was a kid. So again, in the grand scheme of things, it does not matter. And the same goes for your nutrition. You're not going to be on it every day. You're going to eat out. Balance is actually about allowing yourself to be okay with this shit. And if you're not, you're going to drive yourself mad. So that is my number one advice. If you want to be consistent, change your expectation of what that actually looks like. Because Instagram isn't real. You could look at my account and think that I'm just training all the time, but that's just because I talk about training. When I'm not training, I spend a lot of time being horizontal. If I documented how much I was horizontal, you'd probably unfollow me. Or maybe you wouldn't, who knows. But that is where the strong potato comes from, because I am a strong couch potato. I'm so competitive and I love being really good at stuff, but I also love doing nothing. And I like gaming, and I like hanging out with my cat and my boyfriend, and I like burgers and eating food. But the final thing I will say is I'm really, really good at helping women sort this shit out, and that's why I built the Strong as Fuck Club. It's never just about the training. If you want to be consistent with training, the program is just the start. You've probably already got a program, you're probably already following something, but the reason why I have the Strong as Fuck Club is to help you keep going, to keep making progress, and to help you balance it, not just with life, but again, a lot of you aren't just lifting, you're trying to be better at whatever sport or hobby you're doing, and I train for that reason. I train to be good at stuff, I train to do cool things, and I want to be strong and powerful for when I try and roll with a fucking 70-80 kilo bloke. I want to walk away being like, you know what, I made that hard for him. And oh god, I'm going to say this now, I would love to encourage more women to get into jiu-jitsu. Please go try it. If you're just like, oh, I'd love a new challenge, or like, I'm obviously biased, but please, I would love to be the reason that you get into jiu-jitsu. Anyway, hope that was useful. Please come join the Strong as Fuck Club. If you've got questions, you know where I am. This is my jam, this is what I'm good at, and yeah, I am on a mission to get women strong, powerful, for life, and have a good time doing it. So yeah, my final thing is just remember, this shit is supposed to feel good, and if it's not making you feel good, let me help you.